Hey Lazy Landladies, how are you? This is Ming and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited. I don't know if I told you guys, but I created a kit called the Lazy Landlady Kit. Now let's back up. This is the Lazy Landlady channel, and Lazy stands for leveraging automation to add zeros to yourself, L-A-Z-Y. So it has no intention about being lazy. It just means that we're going to work smarter and not harder. We're going to develop systems. We're going to stop being overwhelmed. We're going to put our high heels back on, or our pretty sandals, or our sneakers, or whatever we want to do. But we can take those boots off if we want to, right? If we want to, and we're going to sit back and relax as much as possible while we use our brains to make our business better. And we don't have to work in our business necessarily, but we could work on our business to make it bigger and better and more systemized, more and more organized. Like me, I'm so big on organization because I get so overwhelmed when things aren't organized, and I just can't take it. So that's why I talk about that word so much. I talk about the concept so much, and I try my best every day to make my business better and stronger by learning something new to make it more systemized for my own sanity, basically. So I want to talk about all the overwhelming paperwork that we as landladies have to remember, right? When we're leasing up a tenant, after we, search the web for them or word of mouth or wherever we get the tenants from, we then have to do our due diligence to make sure that we vet them properly so they're the right fit for our unit. And doing that from that initial moment up until the day we give them access to the unit with the keys or the code to get in the house, there are so many documents that we have to remember to give them, right? And I have a sheet that I use. It's like a 1-pager, 2-pager that I use all the time. And I keep it like a running list of all of the things that I have to remember before I even let somebody have access to the house, right? So all of the things we have to remember. So we have to remember when trash day is for each property. Depending on how many units you have as a landlady, then this could be overwhelming, right? After 2, you might forget because you still have to remember your own trash day. So what about when you have to remember what forms you have to sign, what forms they have to sign, what is their credit score, what is their social security number, what is the payment route, like how are they going to pay you every single month? And we want to have a running tab or a sheet, at least a 1 or a 2-pager sheet where we can keep all of that information. Because remember, all of these documents and all of these files and all of this information on, per tenant, we're going to keep in a Dropbox or any kind of cloud system, but we also want to keep a physical copy just in case, right? So you have to have a list of these documents that you're going to need for your local laws and also just for your personal files, just in case. You want to have, a list of all of these things just for your personal documents. So, like, you want to have them to remember, you want to remember to have them sign documents, and you want to remember to have you sign certain documents, right? Then you have to remember per property whether or not you remember to turn the gas on or off, the electric on or off. Did you sign up for that water service or the water insurance? Did you tell the tenant to get insurance before they rent it out to you? Did you tell them to name you as an insured the additional insured person, just in case their insurance lapse, you can be notified. So it's so many documents that us landladies have to remember, and so that we don't get overwhelmed, and so that we don't drop the ball, we have to have some kind of system where we can remember, like a check mark system, right? So did you remember to check their background? Did you remember to record their credit score? Did you remember to get a valid ID license from them, or valid ID picture, any kind of ID from them, right? So you can see their picture, their date of birth, do you know all of these things? Like, who are you letting in your unit? You need to know. Not only do you need to know, you need to remember to ask these questions, because it was years before I even developed a system where I could remember all of these things, right? So for years, I would lease people up, and after they released, I would say, dang, I forgot that one paper, or I forgot those 2 papers. And then I had to run back and ask the tenant, can you please, do you mind signing this? And guess what? They could have said no at that point. But thank God I never had that happen. But now, to avoid me forgetting certain things, I have everything documented on this one, actually it's a 2-pager. It's a 2-pager that I use. And it reminds me of everything that I need to remind a tenant of. And that way, I can put it in my physical papers, and also I can upload it in the cloud for later, but make sure it's all fully executed by both of us if necessary. So if you are like me and sometimes you get forgetful, if you have so many things on your plate, right? As a landlady, especially if you manage your own properties, you're responsible for so many things. Whether you have an assistant, whether you have a VA, whether you have a spouse to help, it's still so many things. You're running a business, so you want to make sure you seem as professional as possible. So I want you to just remember to jot those things down. And if you don't know what exactly I'm talking about or what exactly you need to jot down, all you have to do is click the link in my bio, and you can buy the Landlord Kit, which explains all of the documents that you need for your local, especially your local laws, especially for Philadelphia. Like I said, my market is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so I know all the local paperwork that you need for Pennsylvania, or Philadelphia rather. And but in your city or your town, you can look that up too and just add it to this document. It's called the Landlady Kit, and it has so many bells and whistles and things that you may need for your landlady business. Ciao! See y'all! So if you're like me, and oftentimes I'm forgetful, then you need that one form in the Landlady Kit. It is called Tenant Application Move-In Checklist, right? Now, keep in mind, I have multiple templates in this Landlady Kit, but I'm just talking about one today. Like, just the price of these templates alone is priceless, because it'll just keep you so organized and keep you on your toes when dealing professionally with your tenants. So the form I'm talking about today is called the Tenant Application Move-In Checklist. So you can actually check what you remembered to tell them, what you remembered to have them sign, what you remember to sign yourself. And it's 2 pages, and it's a summary of all of the things that you have in your actual physical file or in your Dropbox or cloud system. So obviously, you know the information in the other pages in your big file, but this is a 2-page summary checklist of what you remember to ask them to sign and what you need to sign and what you remember to ask them, what you remember to notate. So that going down the list, you can say, check, check, check. Okay, I remember that, I remember that, I remember that. And you're following all the laws of your local municipality, right? So click below. It's called the Landlady Kit. It's tons of templates in it, and it's a few video and information videos as well there. So it's about 5 videos, at least over an hour long, and altogether, and also it's at least 15 templates. So the price of the templates alone is going to save you time, energy, sanity, and you're going to be more systemized, and you won't have to remember all of these things because you can just check.